second moment of area. Okay, so that is what I'd like to drive to your understanding. The fundamental concept is so important. Okay, or the rules. Okay, so we now know that we have to now have QZ alpha divided by T, and this is equal to QZ of beta, and then we divide by 0.05. Okay, so now what we don't know is our QZ, first moment of area about the Z axis at point alpha, and we don't know at beta. Okay, so now we need to find. So I'm going to try to get that diagram again. Okay, so how I'm going to divide the second or the first to determine the first moment of area is I'm going to divide this in such a manner. Okay, so I'm going to divide. This is one section, right? And this is the other section, right? This is the other section. And then we have the last section, right? And we know that over here, this is where our point alpha is. Over here, this is where our point beta is, okay? So let's look at QZ. Our point alpha, okay? So I'm going to use millimeters. The width is 50. The depth is 10, okay? So 50 multiplied by 10. And then the Y bar is 20 plus 30, 50, 60 minus by 10 divided by 2. Okay. So this corresponds to what we have down here. Yeah. So the first one corresponds to here. Now the next one, the problem now is we don't know what is T. Okay. So now we write out. Okay. So plus by 2T, which is the width. The depth is 30, right? And the Y bar is 20 plus by 30 divided by 2. Okay, so that is the Y bar. So this is up to point alpha, right? This is up to point alpha. So this will be equal to 55 times 10 times 50, which is equal to 27.5 times 10 to the power 3 plus by 20 by 15 times by 30 times by 2, 2.1 times 10 to the power 3t. Okay. So next we have to find beta. So QZ up to point beta will be equal to 27.5 times 10 to the power 3 plus by 2.1 times 10 to the power 3t, and then plus the width is 50, the thickness is 20, multiplied by 20 divided by 2. Okay. So this will be equal to 27.5 times 10 to the power 3 plus by 2.1 times 10 to the power 3t plus by 50 times 20 times 20 divided by 2 is equal to 10 times 10 to the power 3. This will result to be 37.5 times 10 to the power 3 plus by 2.1 times 10 to the power 3t. Right? So now we have everything. Okay. So now we are going to put everything into this formula now. Right. So QZA is equal to 27.5 times 10 to the power 3 plus by 2.1 times 10 to the power 3t. And then we have to divide by 2t because you have 1t on the left hand side, you have 1t on the right hand side. Okay. And then you plus, or not plus, then equal QZB 27.5 times 10 to the power 3 plus by 2.1 times 10 to the power 3t. And then the whole thing divide by, because I'm dealing with millimeters down here, you can divide by 50 millimeters, not 0.05. You can divide by 50 millimeters, okay? So we are almost there, okay? So now we just need to do cross multiply. So 7.5 power 3 times by 50 is equal to, wait, let me see, is it, yeah, 27.5 power 3 times by 50 is equal to 1.375. Let me hold on. 50 times 10 times by 55. 27.5. 27.5 power 3 times by 50 is equal to 1.375 times 10 to the power 6 plus 2.1 power 3 times by 50, which is equal to 105 times 10 to the power 3 t. Yeah, let me do it again. 2.1 power 3 times by 50. Yep. And then the whole thing will be equal to 37.5 power 3 times 2, 75 times 10 to the power 3, plus by 2.1 power 3 times by 2 is equal to 4.2 times 10 to the power 3. Oh, I forgot the t squared, the t, right? So 2.1. So this is equal to 4.2. No, plus. Okay. T squared. Okay. So at the end of the day, we get 4.2 times 10 to the power 3 t squared, right? Minus 75 power 3 minus by 105 power 3 is equal to minus 30 times 10 to the power 3 t. And then the last one we have Sorry, I think I just got muted. You can hear me now, right? Okay. So from here, this will be equal to 30 plus minus 30 squared minus y, or will be plus 4 times by 4.2 times by 1.375 power 3. Okay. Square root the whole thing, you get 154.919. And then the whole thing divided by 2 times by 4.2 is equal to 4 times by 4.2 is equal to 16.8. Let me do it again. 30 squared plus by 4 times by 4.2 times by 1.375 power 3. Then square root the whole thing, you got 14. Okay, so 30 plus 154.919 divided by 16.8. So the thickness is equal to 11 millimeters. Okay, or so 30 minus 154.919 divided by 16.8 minus 7.436 millimeters. So we know that this value does not make sense. Okay, so the right value is T has to be 11 millimeters. So when T is equal to 11 millimeters, what will happen is the stresses at the centroid, okay, and at the thinnest part of the wall have the same amount of stress. Okay. I'm looking at something to see whether did I make a mistake somewhere. Okay, 27.5 power 3 times by 50, 1.375, 2.1 power 3 times by 50 is 105 times 10 to the power 3. 37.5 power 3 times by 2 is 75 power 3. And 2.1 power 3 times by 2 is 4200, 4.2 power 3. Yeah, I don't think I've done anything wrong. Okay, so the answer is 11 millimeters. Okay,
I think
so you can see, hello?
Hi, I think there's a mistake in the denominator. You wrote like 16 point something. It should be 8.4, I think.
2 times by, yeah. 8.4, you're right. Thank you. I went to times 4. So go back. Okay, so 30 plus 1.4.919 divided by 8.4 is equal, yeah, looks more familiar now. 22.01 4 millimeters, or 30 minus 154.919 divided by 8.4 minus 14.871 millimeters. So impossible to have minus value. So the correct value is 22.014. So what it means, this thickness has to be like, so the thickness over here, okay, the thickness over here, right, has to be 22.014 millimeters. When that happens, the stress at the centroid and the stress at the thinnest part of the wall is the same. Okay. So this question is more on testing your fundamentals on what is wall thickness relative to the shear flow. And like what I mentioned before, it's all about the what? Q over T ratio. Right? It's all about the Q over T ratio. Okay. So as I said, this is a one of the term test question I gave in 2022. I think it's winter 2022. Okay. A very interesting question, I think. Right. So now we are going to go into a new subtopic. And this new subtopic is shearing stress for composite material.